Guys, what's up? My name's Zwordz, and today I'm going to give you all my Season 8 settings for Apex Legends. After the last patch, Respawn added in number percentages for ALC settings, so I figured I should update y'all with where my settings are at now. And if you're really interested in more than just my settings, later in the video I'm going to tell you which are the most important ALC settings to tweak so you can have the perfect sensitivity that works best for you. I don't usually make these type of videos, but I do like to help my community. So please like and subscribe so you can help me grow this community so that we can make Apex more positive, supportive, and better. Now let's get on with the video. First things first, before we even get to sensitivity, let's cover our gameplay and video settings first. Most people think that sensitivity is everything when it comes to settings, but really, these few settings I'm about to share with you, some other Apex creators will make entire videos about, but I'm about to run it straight with you in a few minutes. The first setting we're going to look at is going to be in gameplay. Change your crosshair damage feedback from X with shield icon to just X. I believe by default, Apex defaults the setting to the shield icon, but that shield icon's unnecessary because you can always tell what type of shield your opponent has based on the color of your damage numbers. The shield icon can be distracting while you fire, so you don't want this. Next, make sure your damage numbers are set to stacking. This way, when you beam players, the amount of damage you do adds up and you'll know exactly how much damage you dealt to your target. Your ping opacity, you're actually going to want to make faded. I think a lot of you have this set to default, but ever since I changed it to faded, I feel that pings are a lot less distracting. The main reason I changed this was because when my teammates were spam pinging an enemy, I could barely see the enemy when they were in my line of sight because of the ping. So, I found that by reducing the opacity, the ping is less noticeable next to an enemy. Just look at the difference between having your ping opacity to default versus having your ping opacity to faded. This will help a lot of you solo queuers out there. One of the biggest settings to change is weapon auto cycle on empty. Turn this off. Here's what may happen to some of you without you even realizing it because you have it turned on. Let me ask you this and really think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you were shooting at an enemy and you ran out of ammo, so you tried swapping to your other weapon, but you end up swapping back to your empty gun anyway? If so, this is because of this setting. I recommend for everyone to turn this setting off. You don't need it, and each of you are more than capable of swapping your gun when it's empty. This setting has gotten me killed so many times in the past, so I have it permanently turned off. The next biggest setting we're going to take a look at is taking damage close the Deathbox menu. By default, this setting is turned on, meaning that whenever you take damage, it automatically closes the Deathbox menu. This isn't always a good thing, because let's say there was a Deathbox containing an item you needed like a body shield because yours was empty, but because you got damaged, the game forced you out of a Deathbox. Turning this off will keep you in the Deathbox even if you get damaged, allowing you to get those shield swaps off. So, if you need to get that shield in the middle of a battle, even if you take a sliver of damage, you'll be good to get that shield off. This is huge. Probably the biggest setting is your field of view. Having a larger field of view is going to allow you to see more of your screen. If you're sitting at 90 FPS or lower, odds are you're playing at a disadvantage. Look at the difference between 90 and 108 field of view. At 108 field of view, I could see the horizon a lot better, whereas at 90, they're barely in view. That's the difference between seeing an enemy and not seeing them. If you're not used to higher fields of view, I'd recommend starting out at 102. Now here's my button layout. Just to be clear, I don't recommend y'all to use my button settings unless you play claw. Changing your tactical to circle I would think to be uncomfortable if you weren't a claw player. The only reason I've done this is because I like to crouch with L1. Shooting with R1 is also a lot easier for me as a claw player because I don't have to extend my middle finger all the way back to R2, so it's a nice in-between place. If you're not a claw player, I recommend you play around with your button layout until you find something that allows you to either jump or crouch with one of your bumpers. This is going to help you a lot in certain situations. Though, if you're fine with your current button layout, that's okay. Just focus on mastering your movement with it. I'll also note that with my button layout, I have crouch set to hold so that I can bunny hop easier. Also, make sure you increase your menu cursor speed just a bit so that you can loot faster and scroll through your menus a lot quicker. A very underrated setting for my controller players. Your L2 R2 button dead zone should be set to none. This way, if your controller detects even a little bit of input from either of your back triggers, it'll register that action right away. You also want your movement dead zone to be small. Now for my sensitivity. We won't be using the default settings. Instead, scroll down here to advanced look controls. If you don't already know, advanced look controls allows you to fully customize your sensitivity to your liking. This includes aim acceleration, dead zone, response curve, and even the sensitivity for every weapon sight. Now I want to give you a warning before you copy my settings. Screenshot your settings and save them. My settings are not for everyone. They are meant to put full control of your aim within your thumbs so that your aim does not feel restricted. I prefer loose aim because upon mastery, I have good reaction time with these. So these may feel really weird to some of you. Even after you copy my settings, keep watching the video because I'm going to tell you which settings you're going to want to tweak to find that perfect sensitivity that works best for you, and you're not going to want to miss that. Okay, here we go. For your dead zone, you're going to want that at 4%. Keep in mind, for some controllers, this may cause controller drift. If that happens, you're going to want to increase this number until you no longer have controller drift. For your outer threshold, keep this at default. Now for response curve, I have this set to 1%. This is because I like to have my aim loose. The higher this is, the more restricting the curve will have on your aim. My yaw speed is 500, my pitch speed is 354, ADS yaw speed at 212, and ADS pitch speed at 130. For everything else with ramp or extra in its name, turn these down to 0. These are all aim acceleration settings, and we don't want that. Also, here are my per optic settings. Now play around with my settings for a bit, shoot around, and see what you like or don't like. You'll find that my sensitivity is really loose and might be all over the place. If you want to try to master my sense, go for it. Just be really gentle with your thumb and you're going to beam your enemies down. Though, if you want to tweak it to be just perfect, here's how. Back in your advanced look controls, there are really 6 core settings you're going to want to tweak and play around with. Dead zone, response curve, yaw speed, pitch speed, and ADS yaw and pitch speed. Dead zone essentially tells the controller how much input you have to apply to your joystick before the game registers your input. So if you had a higher dead zone, then you need to apply more pressure to your joystick. If you had a lower dead zone, even the most subtle input the game would pick up. Response curve is a pretty hard thing to describe. The way I can best explain it is that it determines your aim style. The higher this is, your aim is more restricted, which some people like, but the lower it is, the more free your aim is, or loose. If you don't like how loose my settings are, turn this up until you find the right sweet spot. Yaw speed determines your horizontal sensitivity from the hip. Pitch speed determines your vertical sensitivity from the hip. And the ADS versions of yaw and pitch speed determine the same things when you're aiming down your sights. Play around with each of these sensitivities until you find the right spot. My yaw speed is really high, which may be uncomfortable for some of you, so you might want to turn that down. Finally, please be sure to check out the sensitivity for each of the sights to make sure you have yours at the right speed so that it's comfortable for you. Check me out on Twitch for more engaging content and interactive and chill streams. I like to talk to y'all, hang out with y'all, and I have a good time on stream with y'all. So please stop by. I'd be more than happy to chat with you and hear about your experiences. I hope these settings help. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep spreading positivity and keep pushing forward. Take it easy and peace out.